Hello, I'm Shamla Satyaseelan, admin for Inform Birthing India, and I've been with this group from the time it started. I'm a mother of two children. My oldest one turns 15 in about 2 days, I think. He's going to kick me for what I'm saying, but yeah, and my daughter turned 13 last month. I had two vaginal births. When people ask normal delivery, you say normal delivery, but we've normalized vaginal birth with interventions as normal rather than saying, it has become so normal. Vaginal birth with a vacuum is normal. Vaginal birth with all the interventions is normal. So it is not like, no interventions birth has become a special thing now. It is like, oh, you had a no interventions birth kind of a thing. So when I had a birth myself, I wasn't informed. I was in the IT sector. I had two kids. I had no clue when labor pain came in. I had no information about what was going to happen to my body, nothing. I had my first child. And then when I went in for my second child, I had a little bit of information that helped a little bit. And then I was on one of the extended breastfeeding support groups of Ireland. And then from there, I moved on to BSIM when BSIM started. And we were a group of women. We are not in touch with those people now, maybe not as much as in touch. But these were my soul sisters who taught me what birthing is, what breastfeeding is, what I should think about, what I shouldn't think about. So that's when a lot of off-topic posts came into breastfeeding support group, and we started different groups like Gentle Parenting and Inform Birthing and everything. And I was asked to be the admin of Gentle Parenting group at that stage, and I said no, because I felt I didn't have enough information. I felt like the imposter syndrome. You'd be there as the admin and not know enough to say, kind of a thing. And it took me years. I was on the group from day one, Inform Birthing group from day one. But it took me years before I could accept that role. And it's been, I think, 5 years since I've been the admin there, or even more. But it has taught me a lot. The group has healed my own birth traumas. Rather than make me feel guilty about it, it has made me heal. It has made me feel better. It has made me understand that we all don't know everything, and it is important to learn, it is important to be informed, it is important to look at the right information. As you said, the internet has a whole pile of information. We need to know to look at the right place. Nobody teaches you to look at peer-reviewed research. Nobody teaches you to dig into a research to find who funded the research. For example, if there is something which says formula is good, go back and check who funded it. It could have been Nestle, and they are saying formula is good because they produce formula. So all that information, all that learning is something that came to me only after I joined the group. And it took me years of learning. I could look at something and go initially, oh, that blog says this. But now I know blogs can say anything they want. You have to look at the right place, at the right information. And I think only if we are informed enough can we stand up for ourselves and for our babies and for the next generation. And I think what we do is going to help, for generations to come. That is what I feel. See, usually if there are complications, we tend to tell them to talk to their doctor or find practitioners in their city. Like, people usually post on the group, but they also message. It is usually what happens is, if there's in case there's a high risk, they might post on the group, but they also tend to send a personal message with it. And though we don't encourage personal messages, it is always a situation where I get up, I stand up and go, I need to help this person. You feel it in your heart. So we check what can be done. We ask other gynecists, but we also direct them to a helpful gyn in their city where they live. Sometimes that is all we can do. Sometimes we can give them all the information and make them take their info. Like, whatever we do at the end of the thing, it is that person's choice to make, right? I can tell them all I want. It could be a very normal, natural, everything. And there's no C-section needed. But that mother is worried, is tensed, and they're going, no, the doctors are saying this is what I want to do. And you can give them all the information in the world, and you can just hope they'll take an informed decision. That's all. At the end of the day, it is the mother's decision to make, not yours, not mine. So all you can do is give them all the information that you have and hope for the best. So there is nothing more we can do. I think it has taken me years to set my boundaries and go, not my monkey, not my circus. You can do only so much, and that's it. Informed consent is very, very important. Like, who does a vaginal examination at 36 weeks and then they do a membrane sweep, which they think will lead to labor? The mother doesn't know. She comes home, she sees blood, she gets scared, she rushes to hospital, and the doctors go, you're in labor, you haven't progressed, nothing, we'll do a C-section. I think that is terrible. That's really, really bad. Yes, in case of, like, I mean, if there are concerns, if you look at it, there's GD, there's, high BP, where people need to really worry about. There's like too much AFI, where they're worried about whatever. The baby is in breech. Again, even in case of breech, you can do other things before deciding to do a C-section. But none of this happens, and they just go, no, we'll fix a date for C-section. We will... there's loads of interventions taking place even before the woman actually goes into labor. And the woman is not informed about anything. Somehow, birthing and breastfeeding is a taboo topic here. Every mother goes, like, you come out because you've been delivered by a mother, but nobody tells you about the process. Nobody tells you what happens. Nobody tells you what you should feel. All that happens. So I think it is important to make an informed, like, go learn about it, talk about it. Like, every mother that gets informed now will make sure that her children will be informed. I think what we are doing now is setting up something for the next generation. Informed consent is also informed refusal. So when someone refuses for a membrane sweep, they know exactly why they are saying no. So it is not like, when you say, people, I hear this often, delayed cord clamping, and I want that. And the doctor says, why? And if you can guide them to the WHO guidelines and say, WHO says 3 minutes at least, or the cord stops pulsating, and give them the information. This is standard. This is what WHO says, and says, go back to your doctor with this. And then they can fight back and say, no, this is what you're saying is not what we want. This is exactly what we want. Right? It makes a whole world of difference. I think that is what the group is all about, like letting people know, guiding them where to look at. And it is not just about mothers. I think at this stage we even have fathers. I'd love to have mothers and mother-in-laws in the group because they are the support system. I'd love to get those mothers, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws on the group and educate them and go, look, your daughter or daughter-in-law is not sick, they're pregnant, and your support is the most important thing that she needs at this point in time. And if you can support her through this, if you can understand what her body is going through, and if you can support her through a natural birth or even a C-section. C-section is not bad, it's life-saving, but only when it is needed, not because you want your grandchild born at a certain time on a certain day. What are the negative things because of that? So if we can do that even for like 10 cases out of how many ever million cases, I'd still be happy. The one thing I tell every time a mother posts on the group saying, I think I'm in labor, like I'll post whatever is needed, for her at that point in time. And then I'd go, don't forget, delayed cord clamping, immediate skin to skin, breastfeeding within the first hour, and delayed baby bath. And these are 4 things I keep mentioning, like I think to every single person that goes into labor. So this is for immediate postpartum. And I also tell them, like, some mothers feel energetic and I want to get up and do things, and some don't, and it is okay. And I also tell them, if you've had a traumatic birth, accept it, acknowledge it, talk about it. It is very, very important that you do it to avoid PPD. Because I've known mothers who've gone into PPD because of their birth and then had problems breastfeeding because of the PPD. And one thing leads to another. And by the time you know what's going on, already a lot of damage has been done. So that is something that I'd say, like, I would say avoid people who tell you that whatever's happened, the mother is safe, baby is safe, and that's all it matters in the end. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. We are just dumbing down the feelings of the mother. It is important to recognize PPD. It is important to recognize that the mother has feelings. All that is important. And then taking enough rest. Always say, do the bare minimum. Your house can wait. Eat, drink, sleep, wear clean clothes. Everything else can wait. Take the rest needed, because your body, it has taken. And another thing people think is body shaming. You get body shame. You've delivered and your body is like, whatever, still you're 6 months pregnant still. It takes 9 months for your body to make a baby. It takes another 9 months to heal. And your normal is not going to be the old normal. It's a new normal, and you need to accept it and move on. Talking about birthing is a taboo. Parents don't talk about it. The husband knows nothing about it. A lot of friends don't talk about it. As a result, what happens is you're looking for some kind of a support, right? We're human beings. We can't live without support. So what happens is you start looking for online forums and things. My only hope is you reach out to the right forum, right support system, and get all the right information. Because you need that support somewhere. And when you are on groups, also be mindful of other parents, other people who are going through the same thing. So some might have a positive experience and they'll share positive, and some might share negative. So you should learn to, take the right and leave the rest and move on. And I think this group has been an amazing support group for so many mothers. So many don't even talk about it, face to face, or they won't tell anything on the group. And then 10 months later, 12 months later, you might bump into somebody and go, oh, you know what? I've read every single comment of yours and it has been helpful. I've been a very silent member, but whatever you said has resonated with me, and it was helpful. And I think that is what matters in the end. My journey itself, as I said, my birth my first birth was traumatic, I should say, now when I think back on it, because both my children were 42 weekers. My son had to be induced, and I had no energy, and he had to be vacuumed out and stuff. And I didn't even have time to think about what happened. So I had a husband who was sick at home. At that stage, he had a broken leg and whatever. So I had to go through so much at that stage. I went into PPD, which lasted for many years. And my daughter was slightly better. She was a 42 weeker as well. But then I had a fantastic midwife who was like, said, sleep if you have to during labor. That's fine. We'll get you through this. And I did sleep. I did push my baby out, and it was fantastic. And what, as I said, when I came into Informed Birthing India group, I would read posts and I'd feel like an imposter. It was like, I didn't have a fantastic birth myself. What am I trying to advocate here? And then slowly, I started talking to people. I started helping others. I started telling people, what it feels like. And now I feel that has been my healing journey. Giving others what I didn't get myself. So that has been my healing journey, and I'm happy about it. I'm really happy about it. As I said, I started off on an imposter syndrome, and then off it went the other way. No, it is your journey, your story to tell. And I think that is the most beautiful thing. It has been my story to tell. Like every time somebody says, what happens after 40 weeks? I've had two 42 weekers, and they both are teenagers now. And you share your story and you tell, and I had a vaginal delivery. I didn't have a C-section. There's so many things to say. And I go like, yes, that's my journey. I talk about it without being judged, without being judgmental of the other person asking me that question. And I'm happy to share, and they are happy to listen. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I'm able to talk about my birthing journey without shedding a tear, with a smile on my face, think back and pick up only the positives and go, I did that and it wasn't helpful, so I didn't do it the next time. I was careful about it the next time. So things like that. I think, yes, my journey started off on a terrible note, and I'm at a happy place now. What I learned was, when you start making informed decisions, you learn what is right and what is not right, and you learn to stand up for yourself. I wasn't a person who would stand up for myself ever. And when I started doing this, I learned like, okay, it is right for me to stand up and say, I don't want an episiotomy. I don't want to do this. And now I'm teaching my children that. This is the emotional side of it. If you look at the physical side of it, when I had my son, they did ARM, and my son was born 24 hours later, because of which he was given antibiotics. I was given antibiotics, which later on led to temporary lactose intolerance and allergies and stuff. So I went with my daughter, I held it together, and I said, I will try and push the baby out within 24 hours. I don't care what happens, so that my daughter doesn't get antibiotics. So the more you are informed, the more it helps you. And my daughter doesn't have allergies. So maybe it is, sometimes it's just you're guessing, you're second guessing and whatever. But I think when you make informed decisions, when you learn to do that, it is something that you've learned for life. And you apply that not just in pregnancy and birthing, you apply it in every single thing through your life. And you're teaching your children that. You're teaching your children to stand up for themselves. There's something called mom guilt, right? All of us feel it. I'm yet to find a mother who hasn't had mom guilt. The baby laughs, it's your problem. The baby cries, it's your problem. It's like everything is your problem. But you realize when you've made an informed decision, you have less of mom guilt, because you do the right thing based on the information you have at that point in time. So you look at it and you go, I got all the right information and I did my level best based on the right information. And that was the information that was available at that point in time. And I did everything based on that. So it's not that you don't feel guilty anymore, but you feel that you've done something, you've done the best for whatever, yourself and your children. And I don't think, if there are things which I kick myself, even now going, I could have learned more about that. I would have made things better for my son. I could have learned more about this. I could have made things better for my daughter. But if you're making an informed consent, I go like with my daughter, I go, no, I breastfed her for 4.5 years. With my son, I go, no, he was tandem fed. He was fed with my daughter. And that was based on the information that I had at that point in time. I won't say mom guilt goes away completely, but you at least feel better saying you took decisions based on whatever information you had at that time. Third thing about being informed is that because of the second point, as a byproduct of that, PPD is reduced because you don't feel guilty anymore, or less guilty even. Not you don't feel guilty anymore, you feel less guilty, which means the chances of having postpartum depression is less. That is what informed birthing, and when that happens, your parenting style also changes. So, and that is one thing. I just need to add a disclaimer. Informed Birthing India group is not a medical group. It's just a peer support group. And we help each other as peers. We make sure there are no expert comments on that group. We do have doctors, but we make sure that they don't comment because we don't know the actual situation of the person. We don't have medical reports, so we don't comment on what a person should be doing and what a person shouldn't be doing. So that's very important to realize. It's more than healthy mother and healthy baby. And it also, I think, the validation the family gives. So we need to have the entire family on board. We need to get a support system. We need to get the mothers, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws, whoever is going to be the future support system to understand what a mother goes through. And you need to validate her feeling. It is not like, a mother says, I'm in pain, push her away and say, it's okay, it's normal or whatever. If she is in pain, she is in pain. Acknowledge that. If she's had a C-section and if she is upset about it, acknowledge that rather than say, oh, it is a C-section. Sometimes that shaming, the body shaming of the mother about what kind of labor and birth she's had, I think everything brings her down completely. So it is important to validate a mother's feeling. It's bringing up a child is not a one-person family, but the mother goes through the pregnancy, mother goes through the labor, the physical, emotional, and a whole load of things, hormonal changes are borne by the mother. So it is important to acknowledge the feelings of the mother and accept it. Okay, even if you don't accept it, at least acknowledge it. And say, yes, I understand what you're going through. Okay, maybe I don't understand, but you are going through that pain. You are saying that. You are feeling that. So at least acknowledge that. And I think that is important.